Again, my name is Charlene Martin. I'm from Dallas College. I am a student success coach, and I work with our dual credit population. So today we're going to be talking about the power of authentic connection. And I just want to make sure I get the green light and everything is set to go for me to begin.
You are great.
All right, thank you so much. All right, so today what we're going to talk about on our agenda, we're going to talk about what is authentic connection and why is that so special, right? We're also going to talk about the importance of authentic connection, discuss some national dual credit facts. We're going to do a memory exercise because I love group participation. We're also going to talk about us versus them fallacy, how Dallas College is doing success coaching in my role with dual credit students, also our student success plan. We're going to be talking about Dallas College dual credit population and the demographics that we serve for our students. So let me go ahead and begin. Objectives. Why words matter? Why is this important, right? Why am I talking about authentic connection? How does that work with our students? How authentic connection impacts dual credit students? How to navigate authentic connection, discovering your authentic self, identifying compassion fatigue, and how to address it. So first, what is authentic connection? An authentic connection is dropping the facade, showing vulnerability, and sharing one's true self. So I actually found this on an article about creating authentic connections. That sounds easy enough, right? This is exactly what that is. So words that I'm going to discuss or I'm going to say often in my presentation that we're going to kind of break down as it relates to the dual credit experience is authentic. So what is authentic? The definition is the quality of being real or true. So authenticity is true to your own personality, values, and spirit, regardless of the pressure that you're under to act otherwise. You're honest with yourself and with others, and you take responsibility for your mistakes, your values, ideas, and your actions align. So vulnerability, the quality or state of being exposed to the possibility of being attacked or harmed, either physically or emotionally. So vulnerability is something that's really difficult. I think that is the key factor in authentic connection is the ability to be vulnerable. Courage, right? We take for granted sometimes what that looks like for our dual credit students, just being in their position where they have to be in high school and college simultaneously. The ability to do something that frightens someone, right? Strength in the face of pain or grief, mental or moral strength to venture, persevere, and withstand danger, fear, or difficulty. I think all of us can attest to how we've exercised courage in some way. Empathy, we're going to talk about that a lot. The ability to understand and share the feelings of another. Compassion, concern for sufferings or misfortunes of others. And connection, a relationship in which a person, thing, or idea is linked or associated with something else. So how does this all relate to our dual credit students, right? Authentic connection. How authentic connection impacts dual credit students. Authentic connection is the bridge that guides us to fully see students, not as a monolith, but as a multi-dimensional people, right? Our students go through a multitude of things, right? They are involved in a multitude of things. They have a multitude of responsibilities. School is just not the only thing that they do, right? Just like work is not the only thing that we do. So dual credit is only a small piece of their story. Age does not invalidate or minimize their experience. They're actively experiencing life. If you remember when you were in high school, right? And the things that were really big for you, right? Maybe if you're juggling being an athlete, being an extracurricular, and also doing dual credit, that's a lot for a student to kind of break down and to digest. So building authentic connections with our dual credit students is imperative to their holistic success. Dual credit students are embarking on a journey that requires a hands-on approach from trusted advocates, such as myself, such as us who work in the field, right? Because we understand the dynamics of higher education. We understand a different facet that they may not have been exposed to, okay? And to help them successfully maneuver in a different sector, culture, space. Sharing your own experience of triumph or adversity as a college student can help minimize a dual credit student's fears and concerns, right? Um, for example, I did not always do well in my classes as a college student, right? And so expressing how I've overcome those experiences, how I may have overcome my science class that I didn't do well in, how that may have impacted my journey, right? So being vulnerable and letting students know that, hey, you understand what it feels like to be a college student and the struggle that it was for you. Or what did you do to become successful in your classes? I think that's really important to express that to students. Because sometimes I know with me, I can get caught up in the processes of it all, right? In terms of what our probation policy is and things like that. And I have to sometimes fetch back of what it felt like when I was a college student. And so that's actually really important for students to realize that. Applaud students for their tenacity to persevere. It is really, really hard being a dual credit student in a high school. Think about your college experience and your high school experience together. Imagine combining both of those, right? Navigating a new place, right? So if a student doesn't do well a semester, their tenacity and perseverance to want to come back the next semester to do better or to retake the course. Sympathize with their position and how it could impact their well-being and educational journey. Emphasize with their struggle that they may have with success or their struggle that they're having, or applaud how they're successful that they're being in class, right? Hear their concerns and offer perspective, encouragement, and or action. Help them strengthen their independence and self-advocacy. That's really important as well. Authenticity is the daily. I don't know if you all know Brené Brown, but Brené Brown is someone that has an extensive research on vulnerability and courage and authenticity. Authenticity is the daily practice of letting go of who we think we're supposed to be and embracing who we are. Think about um, the courage that that takes to show up and be authentic. Think about the beauty in showing up in a space and showing up as your full self. Think about what that means to students and how they navigate that as they're learning to become them, learning more about themselves at 14, 15, 16. I know at high school, I didn't know who I was going to be, and I'm definitely not who I was when I was 16. Okay, amen for that. All right, so I'm going to show a brief video of Brené Brown. I'm going to pull it up in my browser. I'm going to actually turn my camera off, but this is a short video about authenticity that is really amazing. So give me one moment. Please do let me know if you are not able to hear this. If not, we'll move on with the presentation because sometimes technology is not fair. Give me 1 second. I'm going to try that one more time. All right, we're going to move right along. So for whatever reason, that volume is not working, but I do want you to actually go and view this, her video about vulnerability. And it talks about how much courage it takes to do something that is scary. It talks about how empowering it is and how it is an act of courage to show up authentically, how it is. And when we do that, what we are saying to other people and how we are conveying ourselves in that message, right? So I definitely want you to take a moment to view that video. It is very insightful. If you do not know Breanne Brown, I would encourage you to definitely take a look at her, view her TED Talks, view her books, because she is phenomenal. So Breanne Brown talks about vulnerability is the birthplace of love, belonging, joy, courage, empathy, and creativity. It is the source of hope, empathy, accountability, and authenticity. So we're going to take a look at some, I'm so sorry, give me 1 second. We're going to look at, I'm having some technical issues with my video. Give me 1 second. There we are. All right. Okay, so according to CCRC's enrollment dashboard, there are just over 2,000 200,000 students who under the age of 18 are at community colleges. This is from 1997. So by 2021, that number increased more than 400% at 1.05 million dual credit students. For context, the CCRC reports that total enrollment at community colleges nationwide during that time period increased by just 12%. This means that in 2021, nearly one out of every 5 community college students in America was a dual credit student. That's huge, right? So that is in 2021. That number has definitely increased. So by comparison, the dual credit percentage in Texas increased by almost 19% in terms of points from 6.9% in 2001 to 25.7% in 2021. So ranking Texas number 15th in fall in 2021 when compared to other states in America. Now, of course, that number has increased. We service Dallas College Services, and we'll get into that a little later. But we service nearly 25,000 dual credit students, and that is broken up in various groups. So the data suggests that almost 1/3 of all community college students in Texas will be dual credit students within the next decade. That is huge, 1/3. So we actually at Dallas College, our overall population, we service 1/3 1/3 of our population is dual credit currently right now. Could you imagine for a moment starting high school and college the same day? Could you imagine that and what that actually looks like? Some of our dual credit students begin their journey as early as 9th grade. So we do have a program called PTech, which allows students to take dual credit classes as early as 9th grade. So they actually enroll and start the application process as they leave 8th grade. And this program actually follows them through their through their high school career. And so at the end of it, they actually are credentialed with an associate's degree. So bird's eye view, right? Look at the owl, right? Okay, so dual credit students are under an immense amount of pressure. They are required to navigate college, which comes with a new culture, terms, and surroundings. We require our students to maintain a college GPA of a 2.0 or higher, in addition to balancing high school requirements, extracurricular activities, home and personal obligations. Students are expected to juggle, excuse me, the different facets of their life with ease and simultaneously. This can be exhausting, overwhelming, and frustrating. Below are examples of challenges faced by dual credit students. So bullying, cyber, and person to person, these things don't stop because you're a dual credit student. Families may have financial struggles, right? Food insecurity. So Dallas County, our population or our city struggles with food insecurities, and we combat that in various different ways. We do have a food pantry on campus that students can use, and it is available to all students. I'm so sorry. I've been struggling with sickness. Give me 1 second. Please forgive me. I had a little bit of coughing. I've been struggling with some sickness, so thank you so much. But they struggle with depression, lack of sense of belonging, self-acceptance, authenticity. Maturity level can sometimes be an issue or concern, peer pressure, test anxiety, and academic performance, relationships. So just because you're in dual credit, these things don't stop happening. Navigating college policies and procedures, understanding their college transcript, effects of SAP implications, because SAP actually starts when students start taking classes. So how you're in terms of financial aid, those things start to happen as soon as students start taking classes. So that just doesn't leave, okay? Understanding their college transcript, GPA, and academic probation, and there's more layers to that. There's more things that they struggle with as they navigate both high school and college simultaneously. That is nothing to laugh at. That's nothing to take lightly. I had a hard enough time just taking high school classes. I didn't even have the opportunity or didn't even know or even if dual credit was a thing when I was in high school. So I commend them for their bravery. I commend them for their courage and to fight through how sometimes it can be very difficult to navigate both spaces simultaneously. So I applaud my students. Or for any student who is taking dual credit classes. Empathy. I think this is something that we can sometimes forget, but empathy is seeing with the eyes of another, listening with the ears of another, and feeling with the heart of another. I know in the work that we do, we can often get empathy fatigue. That is a real thing. That is something that I struggle with sometimes. And we're also going to talk about how to combat that as well. So back down memory lane, this is an exercise. So if you do have a spare piece of paper or your phone handy, or just think for a moment. So we're going to take a moment to reminisce on our most challenging time as an adolescent in high school or in high school. So maybe it wasn't something that you dealt with in high school, but going into high school as a preteen. But think about managing relationships, home responsibilities, work, watching siblings senior year, exams, applying to colleges. Just think about your most challenging time, okay? And I want you to take a moment to think about, how did you feel during this time? Okay? What would have made you feel more supported during this time? And this doesn't necessarily have to be high school related. It can be something that you dealt with personally that bled into your high school experience. And how did you overcome this time in your life? How did that experience shape your life? So I just want you to take a few moments to really think about how the most challenging time in your adolescence. Think about that for a moment. I'm going to give you 2 minutes to kind of reminisce. I don't want to rush this. So close your eyes, get relaxed, and really think about a challenging time. So as you thought about that time in your life, what came up for you? Do you remember the people that were around? Do you remember the smell and look of the school or your home? Do you remember the people? What is the feelings that came up? Because so I want you to have this internal dialogue and reflection with yourself. What would have made you feel supported? Maybe someone who really wanted to hear from you. Maybe someone who spent a little extra time having a conversation with you. Maybe someone who just sat with you. How did you overcome this time? What did you do in your life? So if I can't share, since we're talking about vulnerability, my mother passed when I was a young girl, before I actually entered high school. And it was a very difficult time because I was trying to manage those emotions. And I was also trying to navigate this new big place like high school. And there were so many things talked about in terms of freshmen. And so I was really trying to navigate that space. And so I really needed someone in my corner to help me kind of navigate those big emotions. So I didn't feel alone. I overcame this time in my life by actually finding mentors and people who sold into me, like my high school counselor and friends and other support staff that was we actually had a school psychologist that was really helpful for me to manage those emotions. He actually got me involved in a lot of um, organizations on campus. How did it shape my life? It has shaped my life tremendously. It's actually shaped the work that I do with students and how I show up with them and imagining myself in their position and what they've navigated. And I don't make any assumptions about what my students have gone through, but I do remember what it felt like navigating a life-altering experience and needing someone in my corner. So I definitely speak to my students as though I'm speaking to myself, because I understand how difficult it can be to manage life in addition to being a student, not to mention being a college student as well. So here's the fallacy that it's us versus them. And it's really not. It's just us, right? So we have sometimes it's the professional versus the student, but we're all just human. That's the truth of it. And no matter how we size it up, and sometimes it can be very minimizing to assume that, oh, they're just students or they're so young. Wait till you get this age. No, they're experiencing life right now, just like we are. And so they deserve that same grace, that same humility, that same empathy that we do as we navigate life. I like to say it's more like a puzzle, less like a box. So experiences and emotions matter regardless of age. All of us are actively experiencing life. All of us are. All of us may have experienced one or some of these things simultaneously. So depression, anxiety, stress, there's stressors everywhere, right? Just turning on the news is stressful, right? So relationships, managing family and friends, romantic, school personnel, right? Maybe you are an athlete. I have so many of my students who are athletes and who are really, really tired, exhausted, right? As they're also trying to manage getting credits done for college and navigating high school and what their parents need them to do. And this, there's a lot going on. Burnout is something that all of us deal with. It's not just pertinent to us as adults, it's also pertinent to them. So there's this fallacy that there's a us versus them, and it's really not it. Lack of motivation. I get in that pit sometimes when it is time to go to the gym, right? Or just show up for work because you're exhausted. Burnout, lack of motivation, social media, right? So sometimes scrolling social media, you're like, oh, okay, I'm just going to be on there for a second. And next thing you know, a few hours have passed, right? Bullying and harassment, it may have a different name, but it can also happen in the workplace as well, right? Our traumas, our triggers. Medical issues, work-life balance, all of these things are really, really big in terms of something that we all manage and we all may have to go through. If we're not currently experiencing, we may experience in the future. And so it is really important for us to show grace, for us to show empathy, for us to understand that it takes a lot of courage. Courage starts with showing up and letting ourselves be seen. That's really big. So navigating authentic connection. These are some tips that are definitely really helpful for you. Being yourself. Be yourself. Who are you? How can you show up authentically? Self-acceptance. Self-acceptance is the act of accepting yourself and all your personality traits exactly as they are. You accept them no matter what, whether they are positive or negative. This includes your physical and mental attributes. So there is an article on BetterUp that I've used, that I pulled this information from, that can actually assist you with that. Great exercise. Excuse me. Show interest. Use empathy to show interest. Imagine being a high school student navigating college. I understand this can sometimes be emotionally taxing due to how many students we engage with on a regular basis. That is that empathy fatigue, in the line of work that we do. We are human too, and sometimes we get tired, and so that's understandable. But imagine yourself as a high school student navigating the college experience. That's where empathy comes in. Asking questions unrelated to education, so hobbies, talents, interests. I say to my students that you are not a monolith. You are a multifaceted person. You have a lot going on. And I want to hear about more than just college classes. Share some of your own interests. So are you a writer? Are you a music lover? Do you play an instrument? I'm a poet. Um, and I am in the midst of writing a book, a poetry book. So I like to share that with students as they share with me their hobbies and their interests. Be open. Vulnerability allows for connection to flourish organically. So of course, this is definitely has to be appropriate, of course, but reminisce and share your experiences as a high school student. What did you learn? When were you frustrated? Right? That's going to be very helpful. Be mindful of appropriateness. As I said before, not everything is meant to be shared, but sharing your experience as a high school student can actually help students to overcome their own experience. Offer support. Ask the question, in what ways do you feel the most supported? Provide examples on how students can self-advocate. And maybe a student doesn't have the answer to how they feel most supported, but allow them just to think about that. Provide resources, following up with students, meeting with students to their expectations. Be comforting. Offer perspective and evidence. When lifes, give perspective, encouragement, and evidence. Examples of overcoming adversity, meaning how that student overcame adversity. May be more impactful than being positive. I'm not sure if you've heard of this phrase, but it's called toxic positivity. It's almost like not giving space or grace for when life happens. It's great to be positive and to encourage students, but sometimes just listening can be very helpful. Toxic positivity is the pressure to only display positive emotions, suppressing any negative emotions, feelings, reactions, or experiences. I know if I'm angry or if I am processing some big emotions, it's important for me to kind of get that out and talk about it and get that out of my system and be able to express myself. Simply being positive can feel dismissive. So some of us have endured unimaginable traumas none of us speak about, right? If someone deems you trustworthy to share their story, ask the question, how can I support you? That's very important, right? Allowing the person to try and vocalize what they need if you see they're struggling to find a resolution or other suggestions. Be present. We live in a world of multitasking. Even me trying to manage my cough, trying to manage working YouTube so you can hear the video right now, just managing a lot of different things, but trying to be present as well, as much as we can. What we're really doing when we're multitasking is switching back and forth between two or more objects of our attention. We're task switching, not multitasking. Often there's a little rhyme for reason for the switching. So undivided attention is really important. All right, so we're going to talk about Dallas College's success coaching. So this is our model. So the Dallas College success coaching model considers every aspect of being a student. We give students a streamlined single point of contact so we can help them face all barriers. So we can help them with barriers that students may face. We design programming, interventions, and communications to address all of those needs up front instead of waiting until they suffer an experience that they may not recover from. Success coaching is a holistic approach to help students, as we are not a monolith. I would like to stress that part. We aren't a monolith. We have our own experiences outside of just being a professional, but I also am a friend. I'm also a daughter. I'm also, involved in different organizations. I do a lot of different things. I'm not just a professional. Professional and, right? Excuse me one more. Thank you so much for your patience as I manage my coughing in the end of this cold. So Dallas College actually started a new student success plan in 2022. It is an initiative as a way for us to connect on a deeper level with our students and hold them accountable for their personal and educational goals. So I use this each time that I meet with my students. They only have to do it once, but I actually work with my students to complete the success plan. And it also goes over strengths. It also goes over areas of improvement of how I can show up for my students. And I also tell them what their strengths, what their goals. It doesn't all have to be academic. You can have a personal goal that you want to have, such as you want to be a better performer with your instrument. You want to produce more art. You actually want to sell your art. So I talk to my students just about how their goals align with their educational aspirations and what they want to accomplish. Success plans are used to help guide authentic conversations that lead to our intentional outcomes for our students. So Dallas College, this is our breakdown. So Dallas College dual credit success coaches serve over 24,000 students. 1/3 of Dallas College's student population, managing caseloads ranging from 400 to 1,400 students. So each of our success coaches it has a caseload ranging about that amount, so 400 to 1,400. So we work with students in all facets, and we'll talk about that here in a second. Our role is to help our students develop into successful college students by teaching them about higher education, campus resources, and more. As success coaches, we are the first point of contact if our students have any questions or concerns about college. We also work closely with our educational partners, so ISD, private, charter, and homeschool. So we assist with onboarding. So we do application drives, testing, we implement vaccination reports. We accept those. Academic performance, one-on-one conversations, group advising, registration drives, graduation application conversations, which we're in the midst of right now, one-on-one, in-person, virtual, and campus visits, and a lot more that this slide did not have enough space to talk about. So the types of dual credit students that we work with, comprehensive. So this is general studies. General studies degree plans or varied certificate completion. So students who may take one or two classes, or maybe want to do a certificate, or maybe they want to complete a whole associate's degree. They take classes to get a jump on freshman, sophomore required college courses. So like your English, history, governments. We also do concurrent enrollment. So students earn college credits while attending high school. However, these courses are not counted towards high school credit. So we do a lot of students come from all over the country to actually take classes with Dallas College. We have students in different states, in different cities that want to take classes with us, and so they can take those concurrently. We even have a lot of students who take music courses as well, but they can get one-on-one personalized attention from faculty. We also have early college high school students. So they start high school getting a jump start on their associates, and they complete it by the time they graduate. We work with homeschool. That is a population that I service more specifically. And also pathways to technology. This is called P-TECH, Texas Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math. Those are T-STEM. So these students also get credentialed. The two pockets where students may not get credentialed is just comprehensive students or homeschool students, but those students also have the opportunity to earn an associate's degree. So Dallas College's dual credit enrollments. So this is what it was for January 2024. Our dual credit population, 10,000. And so we do break them up for ECHS as well, P-TECH, that is 14,000. So that is over 24,000 students that we serviced just in the past January. We can also break this down a little bit further as we look at the male and female population, African-American, Asian, Hispanic. We also break this down as well. This is over here on the side, as you can see. So our Asian population, African-American, Hispanic, and various students that we actually service. Our dual credit head count, early college, charter school. Charters in private is a smaller population that we serve, but we also have contracts with them. So with Dallas College homeschool population, Dallas College services over 400 homeschool students and growing. That number may sound small, but it is. If you've ever worked with homeschool, you know that is a mighty number. Each homeschool student represents an individual high school. So homeschool students predominantly receive educational core subjects instruction from a parent guardian. Dual credit homeschool students supplement their curriculum with college level coursework. Homeschool students can earn an associate's degree. In fact, a lot of our students do. Homeschool students have a separate onboarding process completely. They also work with a separate team in our homeschool team. So they're actually assigned a success coach. They do have to onboard separately, submit onboarding materials, attachment B, notarized transcript, FERPA meningitis, meet with educational partnerships who manages their contract, meet with me, their assigned success coach, complete a success plan. They have to select a program of study before we even register students. We do have registration meetings for our students as well, registration. As I mentioned, each homeschool student family is the equivalent of an individual high school. Parent participation is high due to the nature of their role because they are the homeschool officials. So whereas maybe in a different population or pocket, the parent participation may not be as high, that is not the case with homeschool because the homeschool official has to be hands-on with a lot of the registration and onboarding process. Students are added to blended rosters. So what that means is that they take classes with traditional, non-traditional, and dual credit students. They're not just putting classes for dual credit students specifically. So it's almost like they operate as an incoming freshman. So here are some of our best practices with engaging students. Dual credit students have multiple lines of communication, are at the center of how we assist our students. So not only do they have their parent guardian, but they also have their high school counselor and administrator. Working with our student population, we actually do not register for students for any classes without their counselor approval. And then they have their Dallas College staff, faculty, and then success coach. We're all feeding into that student. We're all making sure that student is being successful. So as we segue, connection is really important, right? Being a part. Think about your time in high school and your time in college and being connected to an organization, having people in your corner and what that felt like. Brené Brown defines connection as the energy that exists between people when they feel seen, heard, and valued, when they can give and receive without judgment, and when they derive sustenance and strength from the relationship. This is what keeps us together. This is what keeps us striving. This is what makes you want to go back to work because you have work friends and you connect with people at work and you feel a part of something. You feel like you belong. Think about our students as they navigate this college experience and this high school experience simultaneously and how important it is to forge that connection, to feel like you belong and know that you have people in your corner. So let's talk about discovering your authentic self. That is really important as we talk about our students. I want to focus on all of us holistically, the student, because we never stop being students, even though we may not be taking college courses, we are a student of life. And so discovering your authentic self is really important. So I would encourage you, if you haven't done this already, to take some personal inventory. Ask yourself some direct questions to help you discover who you are when you are not putting on a mask or betraying your core values. Well, what are your core values? That's a good question that you have to ask yourself, right? What do you value? Respect, communication, right? What are some of those core values of yours? Be present. That is important in everything that we do. All we have is now. I have this saying, how I move through life. There is no tomorrow. I don't know if you remember, that was on Rocky. And the coach was saying there is no tomorrow, meaning all we have is right now, right? So be present. The ability to be present with yourself, no matter what is going on around you, is essential to authenticity. If you're always distracted by your mental chatter or reacting to external situations, you're not aware of your own state of being. It's really important to just fall into that, right? I know that's hard to do because we have tasks and we have lives and we have, different things that we're managing. But the beauty in being present is really amazing. Build your social support system. Intentionally giving your time and attention to people who not only are true to themselves, but also support you in your journey. Take inventory of your social circle from time to time and surround yourself with supportive people who lift you up. They can encourage you to shine as your true self, and then speak for your truth assertively. Improving how you communicate and can have a big impact on living your true life. Discovering your authentic self. I'm going to kind of speed up a bit because I know I'm a little over time and I want to respect your time. So discovering your authentic self, take daily actions for authenticity. Include time each day to take a small step forward on your personal goals. This could be as simple as spending a few minutes researching a career change or practicing the art or sport that brings you joy. So get into what makes you you, what gives you joy, what makes you happy. Take a step back to gain perspective. When you hyper focus on a problem, you can lose sight of who you are. Sometimes you need to take a step back to see the bigger picture, removing yourself from a situation altogether. Recognize internal or external influences. When you want to know how to be your authentic self, it helps you differentiate your internal motivations and external influences. I found this article, How to Be Your Authentic Self, 7 Powerful Strategies to Be True. Public service announcement, I have to tell everybody right now, put your oxygen mask on first before helping anyone else. This is true when it comes to self-care, because putting oneself first is an unselfish act and a priority. Please let this be the way that you move through life, because if you cannot, no one can pour from an empty glass, okay? Protect your well-being. So emotional, we talked about this a little bit, emotional capacity and compassion fatigue. Emotional capacity is the ability to be fully present in your life, experience a wide range of emotions, and handle difficult feelings without falling apart. Essentially, it's your ability to manage your emotions, overcome limiting beliefs, and manage stress, and ease to adapt to challenging situations and bounce back confidently. So compassion fatigue, where does it show up? Helping professionals, right? We are in the people business. And so sometimes we can really get compassion fatigue, empathy fatigue is a term that describes the physical, emotional, and psychological impact of helping others, often through experiences or stress or trauma. Compassion fatigue is often mistaken for burnout, which is cumulative sense of fatigue or dissatisfaction. Here are a few signs of how it shows up. Emotionally, maybe it's irritability, anger. Physically, headaches, abdominal pain, hypertension. Cognitively, difficulty concentrating, self-blame, low self-esteem. Behaviorally, perhaps lateness, lack of joy. These things can show up in a multitude of ways, so checking in with self is really important. Addressing compassion fatigue, these are some quick tips that can help. Remove email Teams from your phone. I know that sounds crazy, but it can probably be very helpful. That bing noise, I actually often have to mute my computer because that bing noise was causing some anxiety in me. And we all know about Pavlov, right? Okay, so trust the work will be there. Take your PTO, sick leave, and FMLA. You have earned it. Again, put your oxygen mask on first. You do not have to be overexhausted. If you are, speak to your supervisor about how you're feeling and feeling overwhelmed, and that yes, you love the work, but you also need to take care of self. If you can, take a walk if that's something that you are able to do. It improves your mood, helps you relax and lower symptoms of mild depression and anxiety, or just stand outside, breathe in the cool air or the warm air, depending upon where you are. Discuss your workload with your supervisor. Self-advocacy is a muscle all of us must flex. I tell my students this often. I don't know if you need help if you do not communicate that to me. So it's really important to advocate for self. Create boundaries in every space in your life, personal and professional, with family. Set limits, identify job responsibilities, practice saying no, respect others, and recognize your own emotions. Be transparent about how you're feeling. Define your boundaries, what you're comfortable with, and not sharing. So I don't know if we have time to open this up for questions. As we wrapped up, I have gone a little over, so I'm not sure if that's possible, but that has wrapped up my session for this afternoon.